And so these people streamed onto the grounds of the Capitol. In contrast, you'll see, if you look today at the way it looks now, there's an 8-foot high concrete fence around the Capitol right now, which is customary around the time of inauguration. They have enormous barriers to make sure that people don't swarm into the inauguration. None of that was there. There was no blocking people. Indeed, people were encouraged to flood on. And, you know, the mass of the people we saw were older people. They were not in great shape, many of them. They were overweight. And suddenly, as we were watching, we began to see young people scale a very high scaffolding, which is not an easy thing to do. I mean, you have to be in pretty good shape to scale up maybe 50, 60 feet. And again, the police did not stop them from doing that. Masses of them came up, and we didn't shoot the video, but other people have shot the video of basically the doors being opened to the Capitol by the police who should have been guarding it and welcoming these young people in. So rather than rushing to the conclusion that Donald Trump personally orchestrated a rebellion, a seditious act, I think we should catch our breaths here. And we should have learned from the many staged events in the past. If you go back to, say, Maidan Square, or there have been many, many in America, let's catch our breaths. Let's understand who breached the Capitol. Let's look at the number of people who did that as a percentage of the actual number of people who attended the rally. It was a tiny percentage. And you cannot hold Donald Trump responsible for the actions of people who may have done something of their own free will, on their own accord, and who may very well not be Trump supporters.
Did you hear President Trump's speech yourself?
Well, it was tough to do. We did hear, the sound was not very good, actually, when we were out there. We did hear him say, come with me, walk with me over to the Capitol. But I think it was what he was trying to do was to have the visual of the large number of Trump supporters standing in the cold, and it was cold. Washington, D.C. is generally not that cold. It was cold. It was
minus degrees.
Sorry?
Did you have minus degrees, or was it still above 32 Fahrenheit?
Yeah, it was just above, probably about 35, 36, but it was windy. And it's just like, it was probably a typical Norwegian summer.
Yeah. Well,
but it was.
I want to go back to, and if you or Jason have a chance, we're recording this, no beating around the bush about that, but if you or Jason could point us to that candidate who actually stood up and said, I stand for election. Not to change, but to destroy America.
This isn't a rally. This is a revolution.
Shavonna Newsom talked about the Black Act, a platform of ideas focused on reforming police, prison, education, and housing.
We're about to drop these policies on them because nothing happens for our people without legislation. Right here in New York City, if we defunded the NYPD, that would bring $425 million to our school system.
We don't need white men with badges coming in, treating us like trash and then throwing us in jail.
Black Lives Matter Greater New York is not an official Black Lives Matter global network chapter.
I think what we did today was pretty official. I don't have time to fight with other black people. There are people out here in groups, from groups, that don't associate with us because we're too radical, but their members were out here in full force.
What is being too radical?
Really pushing for real change. Like, some people want incremental change. We want revolution. Revolution. We want revolution.